Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a super exciting video for you guys. So around a year ago I made a video going over the rarest gear drops in RPG Sim, and today I am remaking it because it's been a year, a lot more stuff has come out, and especially with EOT and other things like that, I really want to cover this. So there is going to be a lot more than 10 items on this list, but it is going to be in a top 10 style, everything tied for each other at the same percent of drop rate will be together in the same position on the list, and I'm not going to cover too much on how good the actual items are on this list because there is so much to cover. So with that said, we're going to quickly hop into number 10. So at number 10, every single item is tied for 1% drop rate. That's right, we're starting that low at number 10. So the first thing is Hex Daggers. This comes from Rogue Hideout. There's also Laser and Toxin Core for 1%. This comes from Dr. V's Labyrinth. There is the black and yellow hardcore armor cloaks. I forgot their names, but they're on the screen. These are from EOT. There's the Puffy Necklace of Safety and Necklace of the Stormbringer. These both come from the Floating Isles. And then we also got the Underworld Demon Wings. This is the hardcore armor from Tartarus. So there's also the Daggers of Trickery, Orange Twist Pop, and then also the Horror Scythe, all from the Halloween 2020 event, also all at 1% drop rate. And then there is a ton of Halloween auras, all tied at 1% drop rate that I'm not going to cover because there's like a ton of them and I don't want to list them all off. And then Snow Wings and also Santa's Sleigh and all the other Christmas auras are also 1%. So at number 9, we have a few things all tied at 0.9% drop rate. It's already tiny and we're only at 9. Anyways, the first thing on here is the Starlight Pendant, which is from the Archipelago. There is the Amber Gem Sword, which comes from the level 250 zone. I forgot the name of that one. There is also the Demon Slayer, which comes from the Underworld zone, and then the Demon Battle Axe, which comes from Tartarus, and then the last thing at 0.9% drop rate is the Roses Aura, but this one's a little confusing because it also has a 0.5% drop rate from the boss Dr. Love, and then the other limited boss during the the Valentine event in 2020 is the one that dropped it at 0.9%, so that's why I have it at 0.9%. Let's move on. We have a lot to cover in this video, so I am going to be keeping it pretty quickly paced. At number 8, we have 3 things tied, all for a 0.8% drop rate, which is just tiny. So we have the Trinket of Holy Light, which comes from the Archipelago, Bracelet of Vines, which comes from the Ancient Forest, and then we have Thunderfang, which comes from Laboratory 1 on Hardcore, and then also tied at 0.8% drop rate is the Sword of Heartbreak from the 2020 Valentine's Day event. I'm sure all you guys have heard of this item before, because it is essentially the stamp of the marketplace, like it is used all the time in trading. So I got 3 more items, all tied at 0.7% drop rate. So this is going to be the Giant Slayer Club. This comes from the Floating Islands. We also got the Gauntlet of Anticipation, which comes from Hardcore EOT, and then the Armor of Photosynthesis, which comes from the Ancient Forest as well. So these are all incredibly hard to get. And yeah, you should feel lucky if you get any of these at all, especially if you get it like first try. If you get any of these first try, you're a god, my friend. So we are gonna move on to the number 6 position, where we only have 2 things tied. And the 2 things are tied at 0.6% drop rate, which is just tiny. So this is both going to be Full Bloom, which comes from the Ancient Forest, and then Forsaken Armor, which comes from the Underworld Zone. And other 2 things tied at 0.6% drop rate is both the Blade of Equinox and the Literally on Fire Aura. So these are the latest limited items in the game, and they are both currently still droppable in the Summer 2021 raid, but that raid will be removed very soon. So I would do farming for those now. We are about to hop into a ton of items. So at number 5, I have a ton of things all tied for 0.5% drop rate. First is the Hive Queen's Corrupted Sword. This is of course coming from the Hive raid. There is the Shurikens of Time, which comes from Rogue Hideout. There is also the Cape of Pressure, which comes from EOT. That is the hardest to get armor in the entire game. There is Lightbringer, which comes from Archipelago. There is Life Bloom, which comes from Ancient Forest. And then there is the Supernova Aura, which comes from the Sun Temple raid. So we got a lot of them tied up together here, and 0.5% is such a tiny chance. I'm sure all you guys have struggled trying to get these items in the past, or maybe you're even still struggling. I mean, I don't have a Cape of Pressure yet. That thing is a struggle to get, and I know a lot of people used to farm days in and days out for the Hive Queen's Corrupted Sword. We're gonna move on to number 4. At number 4, we have a ton of things tied yet again, and we are all the way down to 0.4% drop rate. So, the first thing tied at 0.4% drop rate is the Hades Blade of Destruction, which comes from Tartarus. There's also the Vince Lightsaber, which comes from Dr. V's Labyrinth. There's the Excalibur of Life, which is dropped from the ancient, Colossus boss. I forgot his name, but it's the one in the caves of the ancient forest. There is also the Thunderstrike Daggers, which comes from Future City. There is Poison Stinger's Ring, which I'm pretty sure also comes from Future City. And then the legendary Venom Aura from Laboratory 1. So there is a lot of things on here, and these are a lot of the items that people always struggle to get. And if you're wondering why you've never gotten a Vince Lightsaber yet, that's why. I mean, to get Vince Lightsaber, not only do you have to do Dr. V's Labyrinth on hardcore, but you have to beat the entire thing every single time just to have a 0.4% chance to get it. So at number 3, we have 3 things all tied at 0.3% drop rate. And that's gonna be the Icicle Blade and Snowflake Shuriken. So these both dropped from the Winter 2020 event and were an absolute pain to get. I'm sure you guys have seen these floating around the marketplace. They are worth quite a bit nowadays. And then the last thing tied at 0.3% drop rate is gonna be the Light Rune. This is the only rune on the list, for it is the only rune that is dropped by an actual boss in the game. You can get this one in the Archipelago, however, if you're over level 1100 and you're under level 910, you can't get it dropped, so it is very annoying to get. We have 4 things all tied at 0.2% drop rate, which is tiny. I mean, it's just microscopically low now. First is actually one of the new weapons that everyone is trying to get. That is going to be Nihility. This is from EOT. There is also Ice King. This is from Frost Dragon. There is True Blue Dragon Katana, also at 0.2%. This comes from Nessa the Colossal. And then there is also the legendary Icicle, which was from the Xmas 2020 event. So these 4 items are so hard to get. 3 of them are legendary godly weapons that a lot of players use. TBDK was the best weapon back in the day. Same with Ice King. And yeah, everything that drops this little is worth something. These are just so hard to get. If you get them dropped, definitely pat yourself on the back. Feel good about that because it is hard. So now it is finally time to move on to the number 1 rarest items to get in the entire game. So everything in the number 1 position is all tied at a 0.1% drop rate, which is it's basically nothing. Like, that chance is so low, it's a miracle to get any of these at all. So first is going to be Infinity, the best weapon in the entire game by a landslide, and this comes from Emperor of Time. Next is going to be the Bubble Aura. This comes from the Summer 2020 event. I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't realize it was that hard to get, but yeah, Bubble Aura only had a 0.1% drop rate and is actually one of the hardest items to get in the entire game. Next is the Sword of Destruction, which actually comes from the World Boss, and this has a 0.1% drop rate. I mean, it's worth a ton on the market, and that's probably why. It looks pretty decent. It's incredibly hard to get, so if you get it, pat your arm on the back. It is definitely a struggle. Next, we have the Lightsaber of Halloween. This is currently pretty much the most valuable item on the market. Is worth like 500 billion. There is some stuff worth more than it, but it's seen as like the end game top tier item. This thing is so hard to get. It came from the Halloween 2020 event, so you can't get it dropped anymore, only through trading, and I say good luck getting it through trading. And yeah, we have one more item at 0.1%, and that is the Pickaxe. So this did used to be a 0.01% drop chance, but it looks like it was changed at some point to 0.1%, which is still tiny. I mean, that's still just absolutely tiny. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video going over all of the rarest drop rates in this game. This one, it was kind of hard to make, took a lot of research, but I hope it turned out good, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Anyways, comment down below what other videos you guys want to see from me in this upcoming week, and I will see you later with more content. Bye!